Welcome in. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, I am really excited to talk about this. Breece Hall is about to open up a can of whoop-ass on the Mile High Horses. That's right. The Denver Broncos game is up this week. This is the revenge game, not only for Breece Hall, but for Nathaniel Hackett and all the shit that Sean Payton said at the beginning of the season that has fans all sorts of fired up. And this is getting all sorts of exciting because Robert Saleh says Breece Hall is no longer on a pitch count. So let's listen to what Coach had to say and break down some of the stats on the other end of this.
So at what point do you just start to give him a little bit more carries?
Yeah, no, like I said, from an opportunity standpoint, there is no pitch count with him anymore. We'd love to get him going, but at the same time, we've got a lot of guys that we want to get the ball to. Garrett's a special player. Lazard, Lazard showed how good he can be. Xavier Gibson showed up in the game. The three tight ends we have are all pretty darn good. So there's, knock on wood, we got some guys. We just got to find a way to distribute the ball in a way that is best for the team and making sure that we're scoring points.
So Robert Saleh says no more pitch count for Breece Hall, and that's really exciting. He also mentions the level of talent that we have on the offense and how many guys we have to get the ball. And that's kind of been the problem with what we've had with the Jets. It hasn't been so much Breece's pitch count as much as it's been the Jets have just found themselves in a hole every single week. The Jets offense has not taken one snap while leading in a game this season. And I mean, that doesn't lend itself to running the ball effectively. And when you have maybe an ineffective passing game, the box gets stacked, so you're not going to see the statistics that you really want to see from Breece Hall. I mean, last week against the Chiefs, you saw 17-0. What are you supposed to do at that point in time? You kind of got to get some drives going, longer opportunities, and then all of a sudden you start getting some more opportunities for Breece Hall to get touches both in the running game and the pass game. But he has been incredibly effective, and Denver is exactly the time to get right. This coming from Michael Nania. Not only is the Broncos' run defense terrible overall, but their specific weakness makes them a particularly exploitable matchup for Breece Hall. Hall has done a great job making second-level defenders miss to rip off big runs this year, and Denver has the worst second-level tackling efficiency in the NFL. League worst, 23% missed tackle rate by linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties, which tells me I want to get Breece Hall involved not just in the running game, but in the receiving game as well. I want to see him get out in space and have those one-on-one matchups with linebackers, with safeties, with cornerbacks, because I'm going to take Breece Hall 9 times out of 10 when he goes up against any one of those positions because this dude is an absolute freight train. Not only is Denver's defense really bad, but the Jets' offense is incredibly more efficient with Breece Hall on the field. Just looking at 14 plays with Dalvin Cook on the field, 44 yards, 3.4 yards per play, 2 first downs, and 1 turnover. When you see Breece Hall on the field, 43 plays, 200, or I guess when Cook's not on the field, it's not necessarily only Breece. 43 plays without Cook on the field, 6.8 yards per play, 16 first downs, and 2 touchdowns. So clearly the offense just clicks a little bit better when you see, I guess that's more of an anti-Dalvin Cook thing as opposed to a pro Breece Hall thing. But Breece Hall's been an absolute monster, and I think everyone understands that this guy is running back one. He always was running back one, and it was just a matter of getting him 100% healthy, preparing him and saving him from himself, and allowing him to really rip off all these long runs. And I'm looking forward to this. I think the offense is finally starting to figure this out. Let's jump into some of the defensive statistics. Because you might say, like, hey, Denver is really bad. They gave up 70 points to Miami, and 8 touchdowns were scored by running backs in that game. So clearly there's going to be something that's skewed. So if you take a look at this, the 2 running backs at the top, clearly, Devon Achane, or however you say that, Raheem Mostert, 11.3 yards a carry and 6.3 yards per carry. So a lot of yardage from that crazy 70-point game from Miami. But when you look at the other ones here, Khalil Herbert, 5.7 yards a carry on 18 carries. Brian Robinson Jr., 4.8 yards per carry on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns. The worst person on this list is literally Josh Jacobs, but he hasn't even cleared 4.0 yards per carry at all this entire season. So maybe take that one with a grain of salt. And I would say the Raiders are not the strongest team right now when we're kind of observing how they're playing overall. Not to mention it was week 1, so maybe there's a little bit of rust coming off the entrance to Josh Jacobs there. But why is that critical? Those are some high numbers. Well, because Breece Hall, when looking at running backs that have at least 30 touches this season. He leads the pack, and it's not even close. Dude's got 6.5 yards per attempt. Per attempt. This dude needs more attempts. That's what this tells you. 100% Breece Hall needs to get more touches. Not just in the running game, but in the passing game. And there's no scrubs on this list either. Look at this list. Raheem Mostert, right there. Bam. 5.2. Breece Hall, over a yard more. Look at that. CMC, 5.7. Breece Hall, damn near a yard more than him. Get this man the ball in space. I cannot wait for this Denver game. I have Breece Hall on like 2 or 3 of my 5 fantasy teams. I was able to snag him. And the last few weeks, it's been really hard to start him because the Jets' offense has been so anemic. Well, that changes this week because not only is Breece Hall going to be insanely effective against Denver, it finally seems like Nathaniel Hackett's starting to figure out how to call an offense for Zach Wilson, and Zach's starting to click a little bit. If these things all start falling in line, expect Breece Hall to have an absolute wild game this week. I am starting him in every lineup, bar none. I am looking forward to 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what I'm expecting from Breece Hall this week. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. What is Breece Hall's stat line going to look like? Do the Jets drop their nuts all over the Denver Broncos? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.